We have a lot more in common than I thought. Okay, everybody, it's me, Wayne Klingman, Mr. Big, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner. This is the first real truly live show, and tonight we have something really, really interesting fun. We have Vengeance Productions with us. Sadly, however, he's in hiding. As you can see, he only has his logo up there because, as you may not know, for the first time ever, I will tell you that he and Jennifer Lawrence had a relationship, and we believe strongly that she's after him for child support. So his face will not be seen at this time. So other than that, sir, how you doing?
Other than dodging constant phone calls, I'm doing great. Thank you for allowing me to have some anonymity, and I want to say shout out to Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Right on. I did not know that Jennifer Lawrence was from Kentucky. I should have, but I did not.
Yeah. I don't know how I know that, but I know it.
We all know interesting things, don't we? Now, I mean, I only have respect for Jennifer Lawrence. I liked her in Bone. That first movie she did, Bone something up. I can't think of the name of it. Where she played the minor child of a guy that she had rescue. Guy, it was a good movie too, good book. And of course, Hunger Games. But
Yeah,
then,
I haven't seen any Hunger Games. I really liked her in Silver Linings Playbook. She was pretty good in that movie.
yeah, Bone Winter. Bone Winter is the book I'm thinking of.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bone Winter. Okay, yeah.
yeah, it's a good movie. It's a great book. Yeah, I mean, she's a good actress, and I know that well, not everybody always makes good movies, as we know from other shows that she's been on. But you gotta give her credit; she does what it takes to get those roles, right?
I guess so.
No guessing about that one. Um, so, what got you interested in doing media, sir?
um, the film Jurassic Park. um,
Really?
I've been in the entertainment industry in and out for over 22 years. So I started as an actor as a kid at 8 years old. I did my first play, and then I got um, I was lucky enough that I lived in Northern California, and they were casting for a commercial. And sometimes these casting agents, I don't know if they still do this, these agencies would go to elementary schools or high schools or stuff like that to scout. And I got pulled out of the scouting to be in my first TV commercial. It was a Crayola crayon commercial. Uh, and I've been, doing plays and then, in and out of that kind of stuff, doing, growing up and stuff like that. But started making movies and getting onto that side of things, from being in front of the camera to being behind the camera, um, pretty quickly after I realized I couldn't, I wasn't, I was more interested in telling the story and being the person that created the world and not necessarily being the one in front of the camera. I wanted to be known for telling the stories. So my love of that kind of came from a lot of like those epic blockbuster movies that kind of like um, drove your imagination wild as a kid. I kind of never lost that. So I transitioned into behind the scenes work, lived in Los Angeles for a while, and then moved to Northern Kentucky and settled down a little bit and started getting back into production, on doing various projects on the production side and learning as I went and working with a lot of uh, different different people from big Hollywood movies to small basement budget movies. I've done them all. I've been a part of them all. I've been production assistants. I've done every job you can possibly do except maybe, like, I don't think I've messed around with lighting, but I've done all those jobs and I set myself up and now I'm ready to start, fully producing my own content and also producing other people's work as well.
Outstanding. Now, do you know ZP Productions in Kentucky?
I'm sorry.
Do you know a company in Kentucky called ZP Productions?
No, I'm not really familiar with that.
I'm familiar with a Roku channel called Blue Mermaid, Blue Mermaid Theater.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's on Roku. Check them out. They're from Louisville. They do their own original work and use Roku to do the platform and to monetize their content. They're doing really, really well. I mean, I can't speak highly enough of Blue Mermaid Theater. I mean, George is the best guy ever. He's honest to day as long. He gives 110% support for people who's working with him. Again, no finer person in the world exists, in my opinion.
Oh, definitely have to check it out then. I have a Roku, so
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, definitely.
yeah. It's great. I mean, Roku is this to me. If you're far younger than I am, but if I was a little bit younger and stuff, I would be making content for Roku. I mean, and then pushing it out there. I mean, you get paid the same as you do for Amazon Prime. You know, how many eyeballs you have over time it would pay off. But continuing content will do that, especially if it's halfway decent. Absolutely, absolutely. So, what's your favorite kind of genre movie?
Whew, that's a big question. I like them all. I'm gonna say horror right now since I'm working on my first feature-length horror film. Horrors are my top three. It's definitely up there. One of those. I think you either love them or hate them kind of genres. I think for a lot of people, but horror is definitely my favorite, and it comes in all different types of flavors and sizes. So I would say horror definitely inspired me to make movies, horror films.
Absolutely. I mean, horror films. A good horror film, you don't need to have a lot of money to make. You just
Nope.
be able to tell a story
Yep.
and have a plot that makes sense.
Yep. And make sure the killing's good. If you can nail all three of those and make the camera not shake, you can
Yeah,
get some money out of it and you can entertain some people. And I'm trying to that's the main focus with this horror film. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to excite people and entertain people. But we want to actually give you something that's not like then the plot makes sense and you know all those things. But the killing is important.
let's talk about your movie. That's Thanksgiving, correct? That's what's going to be called.
Yep, the last Thanksgiving.
And your crowdfunding starts the first day of November, I understand.
Yep, that's when we're going to our pre-production crowdfunding phase. It won't be as big as our main crowdfunding that will come a few months down the road. It's just enough to kind of get the ball rolling in pre-production, setting up meetings with actors and talent around the area. We're going to be working with the Cincinnati film community and
Okay.
in the Louisville and Lexington area, as well as Kentucky, and kind of working with those talent and getting the ball rolling with finding the right production crew, starting the casting, all those things, getting the ball in motion. We don't need a whole lot, but we need a little bit to get into that big push so we can have a kick-ass uh, teaser trailer to show everybody for our main push for the campaign. And hopefully, if everything goes correctly, we'll be shooting this summer and the film will come out in November of next year.
How much are you looking for to do pre-production?
We're projecting. I've lowballed it. I only need about 1,500. I think the rest of my production staff at this time thinks that that's a pretty good number. We were gonna say maybe two, but we do a lot of in-house stuff at Vengeance Productions. We can do our own promoting. We can do our own graphic design work. We can do our own concepts. We do a lot of things in-house, so we can save a lot of money, and then use the money where it's supposed to go, and that's towards the talent. That's towards in front of the camera. That's towards giving a good edit, and obviously producing a really good product on the back end.
Absolutely. No, you're permanently using Kickstarter or using Indiegogo?
We're using Indiegogo. I've been researching both platforms as originally this was a film and then it became a comic book and then it became a film again due to circumstances. That sounds a little crazy, but in the meantime, I learned a little bit about crowdfunding. I crowdsourced a comic book that was a successful failure on Indiegogo, meaning we had enough to pay the artist, but that was about it. That was like a test bed. But I think Indiegogo right now is the way to go. That could change depending on how the audience feels. We're
Yeah.
flexible. If people want us to start one up on Kickstarter as well as have one on Indiegogo for people, I do know that people are one or the other, and then some people just don't really care.
Yeah.
So if we have to go down that road, then we'll definitely tackle it positively.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know the differences between two platforms. I know I've supported projects on both. I don't
Yeah,
have
me
a
too.
favorite. I will say that yeah, I have to say that I've done stuff and you go, some work out far better than others, but that's just the name of the game. Some projects work out really, really well, and some don't.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot. It really is, but I think it goes both ways. I think as a creator, you know, uh, it's depending on where your situation is before you go into a crowdfunding campaign. I really do think it's a risk too. I mean, they're
Yeah.
taking a huge giant leap of faith, and so are the customers. So I think there's a little bit of camaraderie in that, but there's also, you're right, there's also that huge what if factor on both ends.
Oh, I mean, anything can happen. Any legitimate person is going to try like hell to plan for things they can't foresee. You have that what if situation, right? But I just can't imagine how many people had to deal with COVID and trying to get their project done. That was next to impossible.
Oh yeah, mine. This project was supposed to be going into production in summer of 2000. I mean 2020. Excuse me. And COVID shut us down,
Yeah,
and I had to find a new way to. I wanted to tell the story, so I started going. Okay, everything shut down. I lost my cast. I lost my crew. I lost the momentum, and I went into comic book mode. That's another passion of mine, and I thought this could translate over to a really good horror comic. So I got involved into the comics, the indie comic community, and yeah. So I forgot where I was going with that. I trailed off. My
talking about
apologies.
successes and failures, and with COVID was something that
Yeah.
people
So
could not plan for.
yeah. So it was a complete, shutdown reboot mode kind of situation that was difficult to swallow. And now that I have an opportunity where the dust is kind of settling, and I was offered um, a little bit of incentives to drive this back into a film, I jumped at the chance because that's originally what this story was. I originally saw this story as a film. It always was a film. The treatment was a film. The script was a film. So um, yeah, it's just like a self fulfilling prophecy. It originally, if I would have started shooting in 2020, it would have been 2 years in the making. Now it's 4 years in the making. So I guess it puts a little bit more of that. You know, this is how bad I wanted to make this movie.
Absolutely, and we all know that some projects take a long, long time to do.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, and that's no. There's no harm in trying your very, very best job. You know how having things not work out. Things happen. It's how you recover. Can you recover? How you get things going again? What else are you gonna do? What steps are you gonna do to make sure it doesn't try to happen again? Yeah, yeah, that's the only way you can do it.
yeah, that's the best way to do it as well. You prepare for those. Like, I'm a filmmaker. I've been around. I know that nothing's going to go according to plan. I'm prepared for that. So you just don't freak out. I consider myself a maverick filmmaker. Kind of like, I can, give me some duct tape, a camera, and somebody that can stand in front of it, and I'll give you something out of it. You know what I mean? I'm the kind of guy who's gonna come in at a low budget and MacGyver my way through shooting a movie with problem solving skills, because nothing's ever really going to go according to
Right.
plan.
Yeah, things can happen. Things that you can plan for, and some things are gonna happen that you can't plan for. Yeah, yeah. This thing to do is how do you go about it? Now, do you delegate authority? Or are you one of these people who keep everything close to the chest?
I'm sorry.
Do you delegate authority and set, or are we just one of these people who keep everything close to the chest?
As a director and a producer, I'm like a head football coach, so I have no problem dictating. Um, uh, it's comes off. I don't know. I'm an actor's director. Really, that's where my real, because I've been in those actors' shoes, and I know how much they're hungry for direction. I know how much they want to stay in the scene and want to stay cohesive with the story and be in sync with everything. That's the way you get a good performance. And I kind of delegate. You know, if I hire you to be my AD and I specifically lay out a series of tasks I want you to do on set, then I'm not going to micromanage you. You know, I'm going to expect you to do your job, but I'm also going to be the guy cheering everybody on at the same time. I'll be the first one to high five during a great take. But I also, um, I set the tone real early, set the tone day one. I let them know that, like, hey, this is your movie, not just my movie. And we need to come together. The win at the end of the day is a great product. It doesn't matter who you are. This is not a success without all of us. And I've never come across a crew that didn't just kind of fall in line with it. Because if you lead by example, you don't really have to be authoritative. If you can get them to buy in to what you're selling, these filmmakers are just as eager and passionate to tell a great story as well. So you give those opportunities. So I don't micromanage. I hire you to do your job. If I cast somebody, I want them in that role. And if I hire somebody, I want them to do their job. I'm not going to be the one micromanaging you. But at the end of the day, I will be the one that would fire you and kind of, if I have to. I don't want to, but at the end of the day, the goal for everybody and the egos get checked is, are you doing what's best for the film? Are you doing it safely? Are you making a great work environment? If you can do that, then it's fun.
Yeah, I agree 100%, especially the safety element. Far too many people don't understand the word safety. They don't even have a first aid kit in set.
Oh, I know. I've been on those sets. I know. As an actor, I got. We weren't. Sorry, not to tell a story, but real quick, we weren't getting a good shot with this dummy gun that we were using. I was supposed to scare somebody from behind with a shotgun, and they're supposed to turn around and whack me in the head, and we just weren't getting it. So we did it with an actual gun, but I got hit. I told him to just hit me because I was sick and fucking tired of getting this shot in the cold. Just hit me with it, I said. So he gashed me open on set. Come to find out, we don't even have a first aid kit. So
Yeah,
I stuck super glue and a paper towel on my head.
You should have at least safe. I'm a firm believer of being safe. I'm a firm believer of having a first aid kit. I'm a firm believer of making sure somebody there in set has at least basic first aid training in case something happens, unfortunately, that you can take care of a problem as you wait for other people to come and offer assistance if need be.
It's definitely, it's worth the cost for safety. I've been on plenty of sets where we've had ambulances on standby. Shooting some football scenes for a movie down in Corbin, Kentucky, and we had EMS and fire on standby on set on the sidelines while these kids, they're running these football plays. Safety is important, especially when you're doing a horror film when a lot of shit can go wrong.
Yes, we don't need any more Crow type films. We don't need Rust type situations happening.
No, we don't. No.
It's not that hard, and it's amazing how many people you would think would hope know better, but seem don't.
And to be kind of fair with Hollywood, and I'm not a big Hollywood guy. I'm an independent filmmaker, I think, by heart. But I think since Brandon Lee got shot, I think safety has been pretty good. I don't know of anything really major happening with firearms. I know there's been some falls and hits by cars and rolling off stuff like that, and harness breaks and stuff like that. But until Alec Baldwin shot Helena Hutchins, I don't think there has been a since 90 whatever till now. I think they were doing a pretty good job of trying to make it safer.
Right. I mean,
I don't know what the protocol is now, but any filmmaker knows, and you learn this in 101, you don't point a gun at the camera directly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what in the fart and who in the hey was he doing,
right. And make sure the gun's unloaded. I mean, that's basic firearm safety.
He screwed up, like, from top to bottom. Like, there's not. Did he do it on malicious purposes? No, but is he in charge of a cause of events that happened to get her shot? Oh shit, yeah. He's like 8 or 9 of those dominoes are his fault.
Right. I mean, he's been, in my opinion, my strong opinion, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to make sure the weapon is clear.
Yeah, and all the jobs that he's done, all the gigs and all the shows and all the movies, He knows to check that. He knows the protocol. He broke it because that set was playing loosey goosey. You know, they're trying to do a low budget movie out in the middle of Boone. He's trying to come under cost because he's a producer. He wants to do it for low budget. He's cocky. You know, he's Alec Baldwin out there with a gun, and that's what happens when you got people who aren't qualified to do their jobs.
That's right. No, unfortunately, someone's dead, and what all of us going to happen because of it. It's just too bad it doesn't have to happen. That's why we know better, even though we're not the big people from Hollywood. It seems that you and I have a lot more common sense than some of these other people seem to have.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it seems like people are losing common sense now. It's crazy.
So if we were to talk to you about your film, how do we best get a hold of you?
If you want to follow along, you can. Twitter is kind of where I mainly hang out, and that's at Vengeance Pro X on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram, which is the same handle on Instagram. Instagram's where I kind of show off the art or visual stuff first. I kind of go there, then I go to Twitter. You can also follow me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called Vengeance Productions. You'll see the pink skull, and if you see the pink skull, then that's me. I'll be doing updates there as well, but I also do sporadic uploads. I guess I don't really have a set schedule, but I just whatever tickles my fancy, I kind of give my 2 cents on that on the channel. So those are the 3 main areas you can stay in contact with the production.
Outstanding. Will you be starting a page up for the film sometime soon?
I'm not totally sure. That's just another thing for me to manage. I'm hoping that Vengeance Productions, the Twitter accounts, and the Instagram account can hold that as of right now. It's our only current in production project. So probably doing most of the promotion on there. I don't know. Maybe if we go in when we go in for the big push for the crowdfunding, which is also going to have a ton of awesome goodies for the backers. Some behind the scenes merchandise, some rare art pieces that were made, concept stuff. There's going to be a lot of great stuff for horror collectors, horror fans, film fans to get their hands on. So that as of right now, there is no set film page specifically for The Last Thanksgiving.
We'll see what happens when it comes time to get the pre-production thing done.
If I think there's a big enough audience that garners me to go that way, then I'll speed up the process. But for right now, just kind of taking it slow.
Excuse me.
Teasing the hell out of it, but we're going slow.
Well, that you got that situation with Jennifer Lawrence. You got to keep your head down.
Yeah.
She's a crazy woman. Crazy, I'm telling you. Question.
Yes, sir.
Where in Kentucky and Ohio would you plan on shooting the film?
As of right now, there are 2 options. One of them is in Ohio, Cincinnati kind of suburb. There's it's got the look and the feel that I want, and I know a homeowner that will let us shoot there. And there's also kind of a outskirts small town of Lexington and Louisville.
Okay.
That has a friend of mine has a house out there in the suburb that I really like too. This friend of mine happens to be a pretty seasoned veteran actor who's been in a bunch of bit parts in movies and commercials and things for a long time, and he's kind of pushing me to go down to Louisville. So it's going to be one of those 2. I'm going for like a small town, like almost just like every other horror movie is. You want this small town look, although John Carpenter did a pretty good job of making Los Angeles look like a suburban, a Midwestern town. I kind of want to make this look like total middle America. You know what I mean? And
sure.
And I happen to be in middle America right now, so I have the advantage of taking full advantage of creating this isolationist kind of small town.
Well, yeah, I mean, costs must be pretty inexpensive in in Kentucky and Ohio versus LA for sure.
True. And this when I was creating the concept and writing the script years ago, my co-producer and I, we had the budget in mind. We knew this was going to be small, so we have really limited scenes. A lot of it happen, most of the film happens in the house, and you got small sporadic scenes. And I just happen to know people in those fields where I can get in really cheap or for no money at all.
There you
Like I
go.
say, if I can keep the money in front of the camera on the talent where it deserves to be, I'm going to put it there, because that's really what's going to sell this film. It's ambitious, and I'm not just putting a bunch of people out there. I want to recreate memorable, memorable moments with these actors. I want them to be on their A game, and so yeah. So we had the budget in mind when writing it. We had the budget in mind when we're scouting. So I'm gonna be honest with you that I don't want to go for the cheaper, but I'll go for the best and the cheapest, because But we've also set ourselves up in a way where we get really lucky with locations, so that's a plus.
So, when you're speaking your acting crew, do you have any names in mind or no?
Um, no, no, no real names as of yet. I want to start getting prepared to cast. Um, I don't. I'm getting with. We have like a 4-man production crew right now. I'm getting with everybody, and we're going to decide whether or not we want to do local or we want to do a full-on casting call nationwide. I don't really know how we're going to pursue that. I do know Scream legend. If you know her, she was in. Man, I can't remember the actual horror film she was in, but she's got a really good big following. Um, I forget her. I forget her name. It's
Been there.
slipping. Her name is Jessica, but I can't remember her last name for some reason. It's slipping my brain because of brain fart. But anyway, she has horror movie contacts in the industry, and I've been talking to her. But I think I might just go the amateur route. Like, I have a specific look in mind. I don't really have. I never really wrote this with any intent for trying to pull any big name kind of actors. But there might be some people in this that you might go, oh, they look familiar, but they won't be somebody you could just like. I don't think. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
I do. You'd be surprised who runs the streets of Kentucky, who runs the streets of Ohio. Also, the amount of talent that you'll find in these small little communities. I think it could easily be much greater than one might suspect.
yeah, especially since I've been in the film community here for a while. I know who's up for the task. And who I actually want. I personally have the film cast of people that I want to offer these roles to. But that doesn't mean that's where I'm going with. But that's just kind of like, um, as a director, it's kind of where that's where I start. I want to open it up to everybody, but at the end of the day, I know who the good ones in this area are, and they're 100% on board with me. I've worked with them in the past, so um, it'll be interesting. But I guarantee you, um, it won't matter. You'll be watching a movie and you'll just be like, "Holy!" You'll be so entertained. It doesn't. Hopefully, a big name isn't something that's going to um, deter you away from watching this film.
I hear that. Now you're thinking of are you going to distribute to movie to the theaters, or are you going to do streaming?
As far as distribution,
Yeah,
we are still kind of working that out. I know we have multiple options. I know that hard copies will be available at some point. As far as theatrical, I don't really know. I don't think we can open it up for festivals if we release it publicly. There's a lot of if, ands, or buts when it comes to
sure.
distribution, but it all depends. Like you say, you can plan now, but this time next year when it's time to distribute it. It's time for distribution. It could it could change. A good thing, bad thing, who knows? So at
Right.
this
You don't
this
know.
moment, if I was to just release it right now, I would find a way to stream it, get people out there, and also make hard copies available, whether it be direct selling or opening
Yeah.
up a
I mean,
website.
that works as well. I mean,
Yeah.
we did my movie about Frank, my guy out of Milwaukee, and we put it on YouTube and we put it in Prime, and we made our money back in 3 months.
Holy shit! Really?
Holy shit, right? Holy shit. To this day, it's been out now for close to 5 years. We still get a check. It's been a nice residual income. It's not as if pay the mortgage by any means, but the
Right.
money,
Right.
it's coming up Christmas. That's gonna be extra money to help pay those bills. Looking at a cold winter, it's gonna be extra money to go and help pay those heating bills, right? It's
Exactly.
in my opinion. Excuse me. In my opinion, it don't. The problems with putting it in the movie theater, God, you have to worry about agents and all bullshit, and they're gonna make that money. They're gonna get that money long before you see dime one. And put it on Amazon Prime. I got paid. Amazon is really good about giving you the statistics so you know how much you get owed, and they do not play. There's no business. You
On the
can't.
yeah, exactly, on the business side of it, when all the dust settles, I'd love for it to be up on multiple streaming services. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
the end goal for me personally, as Chris Hicks. Yeah, I'd love for it to be up there. uh that
Yeah.
would be the best thing. That would be not just for the residual income, but just for the exposure. I think it's great. Horror is one of those films when, like, I even find myself watching these horror films where, like, I have no idea who these actors are, but I'm watching this horror movie. People are just drawn to it. There's an
Yes.
audience for it, and you know,
Yeah.
that's one way to get seen, and hopefully everything kind of
Uh,
piggybacks into the next project.
and you get to know the people behind it. You get to know the director. You get to know the actors. You see them do one thing, then you're going to find out they're going to do something else. Gravitate to that project and check that out. That's how you build your fan base. That fan base is what keeps you going.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I can't think of last movie I seen at the movie theater was Bullet Train. Right?
That's a great film.
It's a great film. I love the hell of it. Right? But to go to Bullet Train, I could take the same amount of money I could pay for my Netflix for a year. Right? That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. As somebody, I'm a filmaholic, and I've in the last 3 years I've been to the theater maybe twice.
It's not cheap. I mean, obviously, it costs money to turn on the lights, the whole 9 yards. We know this, right? But the popcorn's $15 for a bag nowadays. A soda, which costs them next to nothing, is almost over $4, right? Again, it's economics. They're in business to make money, not business to entertain you. That's why I have the Roku. That's why we have Netflix. That's why we have Prime, so I can see any number of movies anytime I want to from all over the world. Really good ones. Really
Oh
good.
yeah, definitely.
You know?
Yeah,
And
there's a huge problem with you know like we back in the early days of the COVID, and everyone was like, oh, theaters are going to shut down, blah 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 this, and we're in a day and age now where, like, if I have a chance to uh, buy or rent the film at home or go to the movie theater, I'm a father. I got a 4-year-old daughter now. I'm gonna probably grab my big screen TV and watch it at home in my own, where I can pause it, go to the back. I mean, if you give me the luxury now that I'm 39 years old to watch it at home in my comfort of my own house, I don't need that theater experience. I've had that.
right, some movies I want to see it in big theater. I can't think of one coming up now that I would need that necessarily for, but I can see maybe a Star Wars and the like, right? And anymore, I really soapbox. Soapbox, if I'm warned. I'm really tired of going to movie theaters and being told what a horrible human being I am. I don't need that shit. Do
No.
not make me be paid 50, $60 to see a movie and then tell me I suck. I can stay at home. I can get other people to tell me I suck.
Right. Or pay that amount of money for them to make you force feed an agenda that you may not have a problem with, but you definitely don't want it in your entertainment. Like, you're paying them to belittle you, and
Right.
the entertainment lately has just become I guess every generation kind of spits on the next generation's entertainment, but this stuff has become unpalatable.
Well, to me, again, sir, I mean, I've watched all kinds of movies. I'm a big political film junkie. I like Z, which is a really good film. It's Greek. It's about the Greek military dictatorship. It's really a good one. I like Z, All Friends Men. I like the political thrillers a lot, even though I may not agree with some of the politics behind them. But they challenge me. They make me think, which I like in a movie, right?
Yeah, definitely.
If I'm going to watch a popcorn film, I don't need to be beat about head and shoulders.
You're right. Exactly. It's like pick your poison. If you're okay, if you want to make a message, make that film, but make that film all about like don't hijack another film or another genre with
Right.
your message. If you want to be if you want to be a political activist movie, do your damn documentary, but don't throw it into a James Bond movie.
That's right, James. I'm all
Like
right.
what in the effing hell? We're here to see, James Bond do some crazy shit. Like we're not here to listen to us pander to current event culture.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
it's that those subgenres need to go away and we need to go back to just, I'm okay with having your voice. Everybody should be able to operate their voice. But you don't throw it in people's faces. That's where resentment comes from. Even let's say you even agree with it. It's resentful and it becomes tacky and nasty and you start to wonder, are they here to entertain us or are they here because they think we're stupid and will pay anyway?
we think because we're stupid, we'll pay anyway. But I
Yes,
think
they really do. They really do. The big studios think we're dumb as fuck. I'm sorry
yeah.
to cuss.
No, no,
Sorry.
no, 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 no. It's
But
quite
they
all right.
do. They really
They
do.
do.
They think
They
we're
what you
dumb. They don't even watch
do.
movies. They don't
Right.
even like movies. They
I,
like numbers and spreadsheets.
I don't think they even like. I think sometimes when they exist to lose money so they can do those tax write-offs and money laundering.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's been going on since the silent film
Done
era.
time. Done time.
Dude, that's been going. That's like hand in hand, like chocolate and peanut butter, bro.
Absolutely. I like. Are you familiar with the last Gotti movie?
Yes.
That was done in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, how do you make a movie that bad without trying? I mean, no offense meant to Kevin Connolly, who I think got stuck as producer and director at the last minute, right? But how do you have a film with other 12 plus other producers? How is it that you spend $1 million on Pitbull to do a song? Somebody's getting paid to do that. I mean, obviously, he got paid $1 million, right? But somebody's doing some tax write-offs. Somebody's hiding some money.
Yeah. Yeah. Those I don't know if it exists in any other industry, but because I've been in, it's a funny thing when you're working on set when you have a broom in your hand and people don't think you're anything, and they just talk, talk, talk. But that's where I got my education, man, on the streets.
Yeah.
So yeah, they need to hide money, and that's exactly right. And they know these films are gonna, some of them they know are gonna tank, and it's on purpose
Can you say
because
flat?
because they need the write off.
Yeah. I mean, how, to me, I get it. It's a big world. We know this shit goes on, right? But give us respect. If you want me to come and watch your movies, please make it watchable. Other pet peeve is let's not take history and change it for a political agenda because it's too easy to find out the really facts versus the bullshit you want to put on the screen.
Especially nowadays, where unfortunately a lot of people just believe whatever they see.
Yeah.
Hollywood had a history of like rewriting things. I mean, Braveheart for one thing,
Yeah.
but you knew it was a film. You know,
You know,
you
it was a
knew it was a
movie.
film.
I mean, Braveheart got the ending of King of Edward the First, Edward the Second wrong, which is fine. It's a movie, as you said, it's a movie. We know this, right? But it's a movie. Nobody's trying to hide anything, right? The movie that's recently came out about an African tribe that happened. They had a female group of soldiers. They truly existed. But it's more for flash than anything else. If they want to tell a story about African people resisting colonialism. There's thousands of really good stories they could tell, historically accurate stories they could tell.
Yeah, why choose that one and why rewrite it?
Why rewrite it? Because what's going to happen is some kids going to go and see it, and they pick up the book at the library because they look more about it, or they go online to try to read more about these people, and find out the truth. And they sit there, why lie?
And a lot of these kids won't even look it up. They'll take it for face value, and if you question them, they'll just get indignant.
Right. We quit allowing question. And one thing I really liked, God, I'm gonna age myself. Back in the day, around the time of electricity, when I was in school, we were able to challenge the teachers. If the teacher, at least when I went to school back in the day, again around the time electricity was discovered, my best history teacher always said, "You can have any opinion you want to have. Don't care. Bring in facts. We can talk about the facts. We can look at the facts and come up with our opinion based on the facts. But let's have a discussion on the facts." Now, my grandson goes to school, right? They talk about issues. He brings up facts. Teacher says, "You can't talk that. That's disrespectful to me." Wait a second, teacher. You're supposed to be telling the truth. If somebody comes up with you with facts that dispute what you're saying, at least you should listen to the facts, and then you can talk about what they mean. You just can't sit there and say, "Oh, no, you can't question me because I'm an authority."
That statement right there is exactly why history needs to be taught.
Absolutely.
That's how the slippery slope is slopes. And I, like you, had a great history teacher in high school, and he he was exactly that. He would ask us our opinion, and he would encourage debate.
Yeah.
And I would ask questions, and he'd tell me he can't answer that because he'll get in trouble. Like, there were certain things like I would say, well, how come I was watching this on the History Channel and they say this? How come this isn't in our history book? And that's when I learned at a young age that the history's in the victor. The history.
Yep.
You're like, what? And then I had friends in Europe tell me, yeah, they don't even like the English. They don't even learn about the revolution. To them, it's not what we think it is at all.
No.
So like, what is the real history? Like, is it their opinion, how they look at it and see it, or how we see it?
Right.
It's somewhere in the middle,
So,
probably.
and again, because we are Americans and people in England are English, right? Because of our history, we have a different opinion of what the revolution means, right? I'm amazed. Excuse me. I'm amazed the fact that they don't have. As we have a constitution with Bill of Rights, right? That doesn't exist in England.
Right.
I'm shocked at that, but that's the way they have a government. They can change that anytime they want to. They choose not to. That's on them, not my problem. I want my kids to be able to go to the library. And frankly, my last political statement, kind of sort of, I'm really frightened for the time that comes when other people might decide they have a right to come to my home, tell me what books I can read, because they're no longer reflective of what the woke society wants me to think. That's scary.
It's terrifying. It should be terrifying to anybody who understands history, and it's downright disrespectful to our grandfathers and great grandfathers and great great grandfathers that fought against similar things. It's everyone brings up the H word and what he did in the 30s and 40s, but that's how it started.
That's how it started. Absolutely.
But they control what you can't. And these woke people they don't understand. Like
No.
I don't understand how you
you
can't stay. Wait a second, we're doing the same things these guys were doing. That should stop, but they don't. It's crazy as hell.
As we're talking about filmmaking, I mean, I know people who think that we can't do Lovecraft style movies anymore because Lovecraft today would be considered racist. Sorry, guys. Lovecraft was around in the turn of the 20th century, right? 100 years ago plus. Things change. Because he wrote books with feelings that we don't believe in today, doesn't mean those books were bad. It means we don't believe in those social things he did.
We're supposed to see that and go, oh man, remember how despicable we used to be?
Right. Well,
but if you don't teach it, they're going to repeat it. And that sounds cliche as hell, but I don't know if I told you this or not, but I'm a former educator, and every year the history teachers would tell me like, yeah, we're not teaching this, we're not teaching that, we're not teaching this. I'm like, what are you teaching these people? They take a whole week to learn about the lost colony of Roanoke, but they don't talk about the Revolutionary War. I mean, the Civil War in its entirety. But they'll
No,
talk about the lost colony of Roanoke that got slayed by Indians. There's no fucking secret. They got killed by Indians.
I mean, the thing about the Civil War is we can only teach one aspect, which is the slavery aspect. Slavery was a horrible situation. We know this, right? But a big part of the Civil War was because the Southern states were treated horribly by the North by using tariffs and stuff to crush their economic development. It all adds up. It all adds up badly quickly. All these things together, right? But we can't talk about certain aspects. We can't talk to you about Sherman's March and see how that's a war crime. You know, I mean, but
we should be showing it and teaching about how it's not good and how
absolutely. But it's away from your movie, and I apologize for doing those slides. I feel bad.
No, it's okay. History is my thing. I love history. I'm a history buff.
Me too. Big history buff. I mean, enjoy histories. I got 4 or 5 histories going upstairs in my room.
Okay.
But and so anyway, excuse me. What's your Twitter before I forget to ask, sir?
My Twitter is at VengeanceProX.
And that's the best way to get rich of you versus. And you have an email that we can use if we choose to do that.
You can email me if you so desire at vengeanceprox@gmail.com.
Thank you. Now, if I understand correct, you do graphics for hire too, correct?
Yeah, we do graphic design, promotional stuff, book covers, posters, promotional videos.
No, really.
Like yeah.
So you do book covers. Like if I wanted to write my next Kindle or my next book and put it in Kindle, you could do that book cover for me.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Can't beat a good book cover.
Yeah, actually, book covers is when I started graphic design, started giving out my services. Also, Vengeance Production is designed for creatives. Our costs are low on purpose because I'm a creator myself. I know that money is tight and budgets for creating things are super tight, and I want to be able to give high quality for low prices. All of our services are awesomely affordable. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it to help other creators have awesome stuff to show that helps sell their product or get to a better audience or elevate their certain product or project. But doing book covers, I think we've done like 7 in the last 7 or 8 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're fun. I find it fun. Like I had to learn how to do graphic design out of necessity. I wanted all these things and I couldn't afford it. So I'm like, Chris, you have a good enough eye for the camera. Learn how to do it. So I've been self-teaching myself. That makes sense. I've been self-taught, still learning a lot, but I've been doing it for about 8 months, and I work on it every single day. I love it. I found a new passion, and that was graphic design. Believe it or not.
I remember that. I know people with books all the time, and I encourage them to hire a professional to do your book cover. Don't have a book cover that looks like your 6-year-old granddaughter did it, because people won't buy it.
You don't want to. It's something that you don't want to admit. It's a hard pill to swallow, but you do judge a book by its cover. That's one of the things that gets you in there.
You do. I mean, to me, you take the time to write the book well. You take the time to have somebody edit it so it reads well, right? And have a book cover that looks like, again, no offense meant to people with kids, looks like a 6-year-old did it. If it's a comic book for kids, more power to you. But if you're going to tell me the story of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, I don't need crayon stick figures.
Right.
Yeah.
No. I'm right there with you, and that's what I try to do. I take a cinematic approach to about everything that I do. So if you give me a book, and a lot of people go, "Hey, man, here's what some of them don't even know what they want, and some of them do, and I always kind of throw things at them, but I always come out from like, tell me a little bit about your story, and I try to like capture a scene or a moment or a vibe or an element on that cover to give you some kind of emotional response or
Outstanding.
curiosity or relatability, something.
Something. I hear that 100%. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Made my whole day. I really, really appreciate you and things that we had the opportunity to discuss.
Oh man, I've been waiting all day. It's been great. I love talking movies and talking films, and I also love meeting new people. This has been great. Thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure mine. And Jennifer Lawrence, right? I gotta tell you, you gotta be taking those vitamin pills. She's a high need girl.
Well, I don't think we'll ever be seeing each other
Oh,
the way things are going. But it happens. Once everything's settled, I'll come back on the show, and you can see my face, and then you'll know that I settled out of court. I found I found a reasonable price.
right. Well, then you got the problems with Lindsay Lohan. She's always looking too.
Uh, yeah, always. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. She's making a comeback. I saw her in a trailer
Hallmark.
for a Hallmark movie.
Yeah,
So
she'll get 35,000 for that role. But again, I don't have a problem with people doing what it takes to get the role. As long as everybody's over 18, they know exactly what they're getting themselves to. Knock yourself out, right? It's just kind of a sad to see people waste talent making poor decisions and then trying to figure out how to come back. But it's better trying to come back than end up in jail or worse.
I agree with you, and I also come from this. Hey, man, do what you kind of want to do. Do your thing. Don't hurt anybody. Make sure it's you're an adult or it's legal or but don't deny what you're doing. Don't act like you don't know what you're doing. And I'm not saying
Right.
everybody in Hollywood or everybody does this, but look, Hollywood is full of all those people. But it's one thing when you know if something is going on and you allow it to go on and then later on you want to cry about it, like don't be one of those. Like
Yeah, don't be one of those.
don't be one of those. It doesn't look good on you. It doesn't suit you. And I remember back in the days when we didn't really pay that much attention to celebrities. Yeah, we had those shows that would come on for housewives and shit, Entertainment Tonight and
Yeah.
yeah, but like for you talking about anything other than film, I don't really care what you have to say. You're a filmmaker.
Yes. Yeah.
You're an
Right.
entertainer, and I know that's hard work, and I'm proud that you do your thing, but don't act like you're not an entertainer. Remember you're an entertainer,
I
and
mean, if,
do you,
if it,
but just don't be in denial about it. Don't, and I will leave. I will never have a bad thing to say about you. Do your own thing,
absolutely
but if you're gonna go on and deny it, oh, I never did this and I never did that, when you clearly did.
did
That's
that.
going to rub me
Yeah.
the wrong way. Not the actions of what you're doing rub me the wrong way, but your character is shining through, and I don't like it.
Right. And to me, if a soldier wants to come up on the TV and say, "Do more to feed the stray dogs," get your pets sprayed and neutered, all for it. They want to tell me to pick up my trash. Okay, I'm in for that, right? But that's where it stops, right there. Don't tell me
Yeah.
what to think about my political issues.
Recycle, reuse, all
Right,
that shit.
recycle, use,
Right.
right? Don't litter. Yeah, be nice. Stuff like that. Let's do that, right? The rest of it, I got an opinion too. My opinion is no better and no different than yours. So we all have one.
I liked it when
Anyway,
they were giving money to flood victims and hurricane victims and famine and building water irrigations, not having their 5 minutes of, what I think about this. No, I really honestly don't know, and I
I don't
don't really
care.
care. Be
I don't
quiet.
care. I
You're
mean,
living the one. You're living the 1%. Don't act like you can relate to us. You can't.
no,
Sorry
you
if you
can't.
once could, but if you're in a
And don't
position
tell me,
of authority over somebody, right?
and don't tell me you're going to be a world famous lawyer when you can't pass the bar. Don't let that go. Yeah, I mean, again, that's because we allow them to have that power. We don't do the one thing we know how to do, which is turn that dial.
Oh yeah,
You know.
and it's not to. I
Anyway,
don't want to shit in the face of these people that I love and that entertain me, but I I never once cared about their political views. I never once judged them on their ethnicity, their look, anything like that, because I didn't know and I didn't care. all I cared about was, man, I would love to work with one of these people someday and talk films with them or something like that. And go back to entertaining us. If anything, right now, we need entertainers to just entertain people and stop
Absolutely.
giving your 2 cents.
If Lindsay
We could use some escapability right now. The world is kind of poopy.
yes, we use some escapability. If Lindsay Lohan came to my door with her red hair and wanted to pretend to be Marilyn Monroe, I would listen to anything she wants me to listen to as long as she pretends to be Marilyn Monroe. I'm for that. I can do that all night, right? But if she's not going to pretend to be Marilyn Monroe, shut up. I don't care. It doesn't make me a pig. Yeah. Does it make me an asshole? I've been buying that one too, right? But don't tell me your opinions, and I really don't care. Anyway, again, I do thank you for your time, sir. The best of luck with your pre-retraction crowdfunder. And where will that be on again?
It'll be on Indiegogo. If you follow me on social media, I will definitely let everybody know when it's public. In the next couple weeks. So
Absolutely. So that's the 1st of November, correct?
Correct.
Outstanding, sir. Well, until then, the best of luck. We'll bring you in again soon then.
Oh, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This was fun.
Oh, I liked it too. I love talking film. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Talk to you later.